Sign here, Ms. Obidi. $1 billion. One child. That's my offer. I stared at the contract on my kitchen table, the same table where my 7 children ate cereal every morning, where we did homework, where we laughed despite having nothing. This man, this handsome stranger in a $10,000 suit, sat across from me with those dark, unreadable eyes. The same eyes I'd seen 7 years ago for one unforgettable night. The same eyes I saw every day in my children's faces. Kang Dae-hyun. Korean Mafia boss. Father of my children. And he wanted to buy one of them. Over my dead body. But when you're drowning in debt with 7 mouths to feed, and the devil offers you a lifeline, what choice do you really have? If you're loving this story already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our dark romance stories. Drop a comment and tell me, would you take the $1 billion? Now, let's get into Pamela's impossible choice. The bass thundered through Club Exodus so loudly I felt it in my bones. I shouldn't have been there. I should have been home studying for my medical boards, but my best friend Imani had dragged me out, insisting I needed one night of fun before becoming Dr. Boring. I wore a dress I'd never have the courage to wear again, emerald green, hugging every curve my mama gave me. My locks were freshly done, falling down my back like a dark waterfall, adorned with gold cuffs that caught the strobe lights. That's when I saw him. He sat in the VIP section like a king on a throne, surrounded by men in dark suits who screamed danger. But I only saw him. Sharp jawline. Jet black hair styled perfectly. Eyes so dark they looked black in the club lighting. He wore all black, black shirt with the sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms that made my mouth go dry. When our eyes met across the room, the world stopped. I wasn't naive. I knew men like him were trouble. Everything about him screamed power, danger, run away. But I was 25, stressed beyond belief, and for once in my overachieving, responsible life, I wanted to do something reckless. He sent over a drink. Whiskey, neat. Not a fruity cocktail, not champagne. Whiskey. Like he could see straight through to the part of me that was tired of being underestimated. One drink became 2. 2 became him next to me at the bar, his voice like smoke and honey with that slight accent that made my skin tingle. Dae-hyun, he introduced himself, his hand swallowing mine. Pamela, I replied, and the way he repeated my name, slowly, deliberately, like he was tasting it, should have known then I was in trouble. We didn't talk about what we did. Didn't exchange last names or numbers. We existed in that moment, in that club, in the bubble of bass and liquor and electricity that crackled between us. When he leaned in and whispered, "Come with me," I didn't hesitate. His penthouse overlooked the Chicago skyline. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, everything expensive and cold, until he kissed me, and then everything burned hot. That night was fire. It was passion I'd never experienced and knew I'd never experience again. His hands on my body like I was something precious and sinful all at once. The way he said my name in Korean and English, mixing languages as he came undone. We never exchanged numbers. I left before sunrise, taking one last look at him sleeping, his face peaceful in a way it hadn't been while awake. I memorized every detail, knowing this beautiful, dangerous man was a chapter I'd close forever. I had no idea that one night would change everything. Mommy. Zion took my iPad. Did not. She's lying. Both of you, stop it. I rubbed my temples, staring at the mountain of bills on my desk. Medical school debt. A mortgage on a house too small for my family. 7 kids, yes, 7, who I loved more than breathing but who were also eating me out of house and home. Septuplets. 7 babies. The doctors had been shocked. It was a medical miracle, they said. My pregnancy made local news. Chicago woman pregnant with 7 babies after one night stand, father unknown. That headline had been the most humiliating moment of my life. Until every moment after, raising 7 children alone. I'd tried to find him. God, had I tried. But Dae-hyun and a first name wasn't enough. He'd vanished like smoke, and I'd been left holding the bag, or rather, 7 bags. My babies were beautiful. 4 boys, Zion, Kai, Miho, and Jaden. 3 girls, Esther, Sujin, and Mia. Each one a perfect blend of me and him. My rich brown skin and his Asian features created these absolutely stunning children. They had his eyes, all of them. Those dark, intense eyes that haunted my dreams. "Mommy, there's a man at the door," Sonia announced, her pigtails bouncing. I glanced at the clock. 8 p.m. Who the hell was at my door at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday? I opened the door and my world tilted. Dae-hyun. 7 years older. Somehow even more handsome. Same dark eyes, but harder now. Sharper. A scar I didn't remember ran along his jawline, only adding to his dangerous appeal. He wore a black suit LL. Pamela. My name from his lips. Same voice. Same accent. Behind me, I heard 7 pairs of feet thundering toward the door because my children had no concept of stranger danger. His eyes widened, the first real emotion I'd seen. He looked past me at the 7 faces peering around my legs, staring up at him with curiosity. 7 faces that looked exactly like him. "We need to talk," he said, his voice tight. I'd sent the kids to my mother's house. It took an hour of explaining, "No, baby, he's not a bad man. Yes, I'll be fine. No, you can't miss school tomorrow," before I finally had silence. Dae-hyun sat at my kitchen table, looking completely out of place among the crayon drawings stuck to my fridge and the pile of laundry I hadn't folded yet. 7, he said quietly. "You had 7 children. My children. Your children." I laughed bitterly. "No, these are my children. I've raised them alone for 7 years. You disappeared. I didn't know." His jaw clenched. "If I had known." "You would have what?" "You didn't even give me a last name, Dae-hyun. I tried to find you. I failed. So I did what I had to do, I raised them myself." He ran a hand through his hair, and I hated that I noticed how attractive he was, even frustrated. "I'm sorry." That night. I was in Chicago for business. I left the country the next day. I never thought. Well, surprise. I spread my arms. Septuplets. Medical miracle. And 7 years of struggle. His eyes met mine. "You're drowning in debt." It wasn't a question. My spine straightened. "I'm managing." "Pamela." The way he said my name. "I've done my research since I found you. You're 3 months behind on your mortgage. You dropped out of medical school. You work 3 jobs. Your children deserve better." Rage flooded through me. "Don't you dare. I'm not criticizing you." He leaned forward. "I'm trying to help. I'm their father. You're a stranger who shares their DNA. That's not the same thing. Then let me change that." He pulled out a folder from his briefcase. "I want to be in their lives, Pamela. All of them. But I know that's complicated. So I have a proposal." He slid the folder across the table. I opened it and nearly fainted. $1 billion, he said calmly. "In exchange for custody of 1 child. You choose which one." I stared at him like he'd grown a second head. "You want to buy one of my children? Get out." I stood, slamming the folder closed. "My children are not for sale. I don't care if you're offering $10 billion. They stay together. They stay with me. Get the hell out of my house." He stood slowly, his height intimidating in my small kitchen. But I wasn't afraid. I was a mother protecting her cubs. "I'm not the villain here," he said quietly. "I'm trying to help. By tearing my family apart? That's not help. That's cruelty." Something flashed in his eyes. "You think I don't know about cruelty? About impossible choices? Pamela, I'm not asking you to decide tonight. But look at those bills. Look at your children. And ask yourself, is your pride worth more than their future? After he left, I collapsed into my chair and did something I rarely let myself do. I cried. Can you believe Daehyun's audacity? Offering to buy one of Pamela's children? Drop a comment and let me know what you think of him so far, villain or misunderstood hero? And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now because this story is about to get so much more intense. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your dark romance lovers. Now, back to the story. Daehyun didn't give up. Of course he didn't. The next day, a check arrived. No note. Just a check for $50,000. I tore it up. The day after, groceries appeared on my porch. Expensive stuff. Organic everything. I donated it all. Day 3, he showed up at Rosie's diner where I worked the morning shift. You're persistent, I said, pouring him coffee with shaking hands. It's one of my better qualities. He looked around the diner, then back at me in my stained uniform. You should be a doctor. Yeah, well, septuplets kind of derailed that plan. It doesn't have to be derailed forever. I slammed the coffee pot down. What do you want from me, Daehyun? Really? Have dinner with me. Let me explain. Explain what? Your insane offer. Explain who I am. What I do. Why I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I agreed. That night, he took me to a restaurant so fancy I felt underdressed in my nicest dress. He ordered in Korean, and I tried not to remember the way he'd whispered Korean words against my skin 7 years ago. I'm the head of the Kong family, he began, after the waiter left. Do you know what that means? You're Mafia. It wasn't a question. He nodded. My family controls most of the Korean organized crime on the East Coast. Gambling, protection, some, less legal enterprises. I inherited the position when my father died 5 years ago. Am I supposed to be impressed or terrified? A ghost of a smile. Neither. I'm telling you this so you understand. I have enemies, Pamela. Dangerous people who would use my weaknesses against me. When I found out about the children, our children, I knew they were in danger simply by being mine. My blood ran cold. Is that a threat? It's a reality. He leaned forward. I've had your house under surveillance since I found out. You haven't noticed the 3 teams rotating shifts, watching from the streets. Making sure no one else finds out about them. You've been watching us? Protecting you. There's a difference. I wanted to throw my wine in his face. I also wanted to climb across the table and kiss him, which made me even angrier. So your solution is to take one of my children? How does that make sense? If I publicly claim one heir, it sends a message. That child becomes untouchable under my protection. The others remain anonymous, safe with you. I can provide security for all of you without drawing attention. Or, I countered, you could just provide security and money without taking any of them. My family won't accept that. They're demanding I produce an heir. Someone to continue the Kong line. If I don't. He paused. There are cousins who would be happy to take my place. By any means necessary. So you're in danger too. Always. He said it so casually. Like living with a target on your back was normal. But I can handle myself. 7 children? That's different. That's a vulnerability I can't protect alone. I studied him. Really looked at him. Beyond the expensive suit and the dangerous aura, I saw something else. Fear. This powerful, terrifying mafia boss was afraid for our children. I need time, I said finally. You have until the end of the month. After that, my family will start asking questions I can't avoid answering. And once they know about all 7. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Against my better judgment, a recurring theme with Daehyun, I agreed to let him meet the kids properly. Why is that man coming over again? Zion asked. My oldest by 4 minutes, and the most protective of his siblings. He's an old friend. He wants to meet you all. Does he know our daddy? Little Nia asked, his eyes, wide and hopeful. My heart shattered. Baby, we've talked about this. The doorbell rang, saving me from another conversation about their absent father. The irony wasn't lost on me. Daehyun arrived with gifts. Not expensive toys, but thoughtful ones. A telescope for Zion who loved space. Art supplies for Esther. Books for Kai. A soccer ball for Jaden. A chemistry set for Miho. A keyboard for Soo-jin who hummed constantly. A stuffed lion for Nia. How did you know? I whispered, watching my children's faces light up. I've been watching, remember? Learning them. It should have creeped me out. Instead, something in my chest tightened. He sat on my living room floor, this powerful mafia boss, and let 7 children climb all over him. Kai showed him his rock collection. Soo-jin played a halting melody on her new keyboard. Zion interrogated him about constellations. And Daehyun? He was patient. Attentive. Natural in a way I hadn't expected. You look like us, Sonia said, tilting her head. Do we have the same daddy? The room went silent. Daehyun's eyes met mine, a question in them. I gave the smallest nod. Yes, he said quietly. I'm your father. Chaos erupted. 7 children, all talking at once. Questions, excitement, confusion. Nia burst into tears, happy ones. Zion stood back, arms crossed, suspicious. Where were you? Zion demanded. Mommy cried a lot when we were babies. Were you too busy for us? The accusation hung in the air. Daehyun didn't flinch. Yes, he said simply. I was too busy, too stupid, and too ignorant. I didn't know about you, but that's not an excuse. I should have given your mother a way to find me. I failed all of you. I'm sorry. The honesty disarmed even Zion. My son's shoulders relaxed slightly. Are you going to leave again? This from Soo-jin, her voice tiny. Not if I can help it, Daehyun promised. I want to be part of your lives. If you'll let me. I watched my children, our children, warm to him, and terror gripped me. Because this wasn't just about money or protection anymore. This was about a father and his children. And I was the only thing standing between them. It happened on a Tuesday. I was picking the kids up from school when the black SUV pulled up. Wrong place. Wrong time. Wrong everything. 3 men got out, and I knew. I just knew. Get in the car. I screamed at my children. Now. But 7 kids don't move fast. Especially when they're confused and scared. The men advanced. One pulled a gun. Then the world exploded into violence. Daehyun's security team, the ones I hadn't wanted to believe were there, materialized from nowhere. Gunfire. Screaming. I threw myself over as many children as I could, feeling small bodies trembling beneath me. It was over in seconds. The attackers were subdued. My children were safe. But everything had changed. Daehyun arrived within 10 minutes, his face a mask of cold fury I was glad wasn't directed at me. He found us in my living room, 7 children clinging to me, all of us still shaking. They found out, he said without preamble. One of my rivals. They know about the children. All of them? My voice broke. All of them. He knelt in front of us, his eyes scanning each child, making sure they were okay. Then he looked at me. You can't stay here. None of you. It's not safe. Where are we supposed to go? My estate. It's fortified. Security everywhere. They'll be safe there. We'll be prisoners. You'll be alive. His voice was harsh. Pamela, this isn't a debate anymore. They came for your children today. My children. If my security hadn't been there, he stopped, his jaw working. If anything had happened to them. To you. For the first time, I saw a real emotion crack through his control. Fear. Rage. And something else that made my breath catch. Okay, I whispered. Okay. Daehyun's estate was a fortress disguised as a mansion. 30 acres outside Chicago, surrounded by walls, cameras, armed guards. Inside, it was beautiful, modern and sleek but somehow warm. 7 bedrooms in the east wing, he explained, leading us through. All connected to a central playroom. I had them prepared when I found out about the children. You planned this. I was too tired to be angry. I hoped for it, he corrected. There's a room for you too. Next to theirs. Where will you be? His eyes met mine. Close. Always close now. The children adapted faster than I did. To them, it was an adventure. A mansion with a pool, a home theater, a game room. They didn't understand the guards were there to protect them from people who wanted to hurt them. I couldn't sleep that first night. I wandered the mansion, checking and rechecking that all 7 kids were safe, breathing, whole. I found Daehyun in his office, surrounded by security monitors and looking exhausted. Can't sleep either, he asked. I keep seeing that gun. Pointed at my babies. He stood, crossed to me, and did something unexpected. He pulled me into his arms. I should have pushed him away. Instead, I broke. 7 years of being strong, of handling everything alone, of pretending I didn't need help, it all crashed down. I sobbed into his chest while he held me, one hand in my locks, the other on my back. I've got you, he murmured in Korean, then English. I've got all of you. I promise. When I finally pulled back, his shirt was soaked with my tears. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be. His thumb brushed my cheek, catching a stray tear. You've been carrying this alone for too long. Let me help carry it now. The air between us charged. His eyes dropped to my lips. I swayed forward. Then Nia's voice crackled through the baby monitor. Mommy? The spell broke. I stepped back. I should. Go. I'll be here if you need anything. As I left, I felt his eyes on me and knew we were both remembering another night, 7 years ago, when we couldn't resist this pull between us. History had a funny way of repeating itself. Living with Daehyun was dangerous. Not because of the Mafia stuff, though there was plenty of that. Dangerous because I was remembering why I'd gone home with him that night 7 years ago. He was patient with the children, firm but kind. When Miho had a nightmare, Daehyun spent 2 hours teaching him Korean counting games to calm him down. When Sonia struggled with her math homework, he sat with her until she understood, praising her efforts. With me, he was complicated. Respectful. He never pushed, never crossed lines. But the tension simmered between us constantly. Hands brushing when we both reached for the same child. His eyes following me across rooms. The way he said my name. You're staring, I told him one night after the kids were asleep. We'd fallen into a routine, sitting together in the living room, drinking wine, pretending we were just co-parents and not 2 people drawn to each other like magnets. You're beautiful. I'm allowed to appreciate that. That's inappropriate. Is it? We have 7 children together, Pamela. I think we're past worrying about appropriate. I laughed despite myself. Fair point. He set down his wine glass. Can I ask you something? Why didn't you get rid of the pregnancy? When you found out it was septuplets, when you knew you were alone. Most people would have. They were mine, I interrupted. Ours. I know it was one night, but Daehyun, that night meant something to me. You made me feel alive in a way I never had before. And when I found out I was pregnant, even though I was terrified, I wanted them. All of them. They were part of you, and I'd spent weeks trying to find you, and having them was like keeping a piece of that night. His expression was unreadable. That night meant something to me too. I don't do one-night stands. But with you, I couldn't walk away. And leaving the next morning was one of the hardest things I've ever done. You could have left a number. I was protecting you. My world, Pamela, it's violent. It's dark. You were this brilliant, beautiful light, and I didn't want to dim that. I thought leaving was noble. He laughed bitterly. I was an idiot. Yes, I agreed. You were. If I could go back. You can't. None of us can. We can only move forward. Then move forward with me. He shifted closer. Not just as parents. Not just as people who share a past. Pamela, I want. Don't. I stood abruptly. Don't say it. This situation is already complicated enough. Complicated doesn't mean impossible. You're a mafia boss. I'm a struggling single mother. We live in two different worlds. We live in the same house now. We have 7 children who need both of us. That's not different worlds, that's the same world, finally aligned. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to. But I'd been hurt before. I'd been alone before. And trusting him with my heart felt more dangerous than any gun-wielding rival. I need time, I said, the same thing I'd been saying for weeks. Time I can give you. He stood, moving closer but not touching. But Pamela? I'm not going anywhere. Not again. So take your time. I'll wait. The end of the month arrived too fast. Dae-hyun's family demanded a meeting. They wanted to meet the heir. Wanted him to choose. I won't do it, he told me the night before. I'm telling them no. All 7 stay together, or none of them are acknowledged. What will happen to you? Doesn't matter. Dae-hyun. Their children, Pamela. Our children. I'm not splitting them up. I don't care what my family says. But I cared. Because I'd done research too. If Dae-hyun was ousted from his family, his protection disappeared. The children would be vulnerable again. We'd be back to running, hiding, looking over our shoulders. What if there was another option? I said slowly. What do you mean? What if we gave them what they wanted, one acknowledged heir? But we don't choose. We let the children decide who wants that life. He stared at me. You'd really consider this? I'm considering keeping all of us safe. Including you. The next morning, I sat down with 7 pairs of curious eyes staring at me. Your father's family wants one of you to be his official heir, I explained carefully. This doesn't mean he loves that child more. It doesn't mean you're being separated. It means one of you will have special training, special responsibilities. It's a big job. Like being a superhero? Jaden asked. Sort of. But also dangerous. There might be people who want to hurt you because of it. I'll do it, Zion said immediately. I'm the oldest. I should protect everyone. No. Mia clung to him. I don't want you to get hurt. Sonia raised her hand like she was in school. What does the heir do? Dae-hyun entered, drawn by the voices. He explained in terms they could understand, being a leader, making hard choices, protecting family. I want to do it, Kai said quietly. I'm not scared. Me too, Miho added. Sujin shook her head. I just want to play music. The discussion continued, children being children, not fully understanding but trying. And as I watched them talk it over with Dae-hyun, I realized something. This wasn't about choosing one child over the others. This was about letting them know they had options, had a father who would support whatever they chose, had a mother who would protect them regardless. This was about being a family. In the end, it was Zion. Of course it was. My brave, protective, stubborn firstborn who insisted he was the oldest, by 4 minutes, and therefore it was his responsibility. Are you sure? Dae-hyun asked him seriously, man to man. Will you teach me to protect everyone? Zion asked. Yes. Then I'm sure. Daehyun's family was terrifying. His uncle, Kang Min-seo, looked like he could kill you with a glance. His cousins were all sharp suits and sharper eyes. And his grandmother, the matriarch, sat at the head of the table like a queen surveying her subjects. I'd dressed carefully. Professional but not submissive. I was representing my children, and I'd be damned if I looked weak. Zion stood between Daehyun and me, wearing a little suit that made my heart ache. He looked so small next to these dangerous men. But he stood tall, shoulders back, just like I'd taught him. This is your heir? Min-seo's voice dripped with disdain. A child from a one-night stand with some. Finish that sentence and you'll regret it, Daehyun said coldly. This is Kang Zion, my son. And this is Pamela Obidi, his mother. You will show them respect. The grandmother's eyes fixed on me. You have more children. It wasn't a question, but I answered anyway. 6 more. Septuplets. Shocked murmurs. The grandmother's eyebrows rose. 7 children in one birth? And they all survived? All healthy, all brilliant, all mine. Why choose this one? She gestured to Zion. Before I could answer, Zion spoke up. I chose. I'm the oldest. I protect my family. The grandmother smiled. Actually smiled. He has the Kang spirit. Very well. I accept him as heir. Just like that, it was decided. But Min-seo wasn't done. And what of the mother? She's seen too much, knows too much. How do we know she won't? She won't, Daehyun interrupted. Because she's going to be my wife. The room went silent. I slowly turned to look at him. Excuse me? He met my eyes, and I saw the calculation there. This wasn't romance. This was strategy. It's the logical solution, he said smoothly. Marriage protects her and the other children. It legitimizes Zion. It shows unity. A word, I said through gritted teeth. Now. We stepped into the hallway. I rounded on him. Marriage? You couldn't have discussed this with me first. Would you have agreed? That's not the point. Pamela. He gripped my shoulders. I know this isn't romantic. I know it's not what you dreamed of. But think about it logically. As my wife, you're untouchable. The children are protected. You'd have resources, security, everything you've been struggling to provide. A marriage of convenience. How lovely. It doesn't have to be just convenience. His voice dropped. We're good together. You know we are. And the children need both of us. I won't marry someone who doesn't love me. The words hung between us. His hands tightened on my shoulders. Who says I don't? My breath caught. Daehyun. I've been in love with you since that night 7 years ago. I tried to forget you. I failed. Finding out about the children was a shock, but seeing you again? Pamela, I fell in love with you twice. Once with the carefree woman in a green dress, and again with the fierce mother who would fight the world for her children. Tears burned my eyes. You can't just say that now. Not when you're asking me to marry you for strategy. Then I'll say it again when this is over. And the day after. And every day until you believe me. He cupped my face. Marry me. Not for protection or money or strategy. Marry me because I love you. Because I want to spend every day earning your love back. Because our children deserve to see their parents happy together. This is crazy. I've done crazy since the moment I met you. Might as well continue. Despite everything, the fear, the uncertainty, the absolute insanity of the situation, I laughed. And then I kissed him. It was like coming home. Like that night 7 years ago, but deeper, richer, full of history and children and possibility. He kissed me like I was oxygen and he'd been drowning. When we broke apart, both breathing hard. He pressed his forehead to mine. Is that a yes? It's an, I'm probably going to regret this, but let's do it anyway. I'll take it. We returned to the meeting room, my hand in his, and faced his family. We'll marry within the month, Daehyun announced. Any objections? His grandmother smiled again. Welcome to the family, Pamela Obidi. Try not to let these men intimidate you. I have 7 children, I replied. Nothing intimidates me anymore. She laughed, a sound that seemed to surprise everyone, and nodded approvingly. Planning a mafia wedding while raising septuplets was chaos. Daehyun wanted traditional Korean elements. I wanted to honor my Nigerian heritage. The result was a fusion that shouldn't have worked but somehow did. The children were excited, especially when we told them they were all part of the wedding party. So you're marrying Daddy officially? Nia asked, confused. Yes, baby. Does this mean we don't have to worry about bad people anymore? God, I hope so. The night before the wedding, my mother arrived from Atlanta. She'd been furious about the whole situation, the Mafia connection, the rushed wedding, all of it. But when she saw Daehyun with the children, saw how he looked at me, her expression softened. He loves you, she said, helping me into my dress for the rehearsal. And more importantly, he respects you. I see it in how he asks your opinion, how he defers to you about the children. I'm terrified, Mama. Of course you are. Love is terrifying. But baby, you've been alone for 7 years. Maybe it's time to let someone stand beside you. The wedding was beautiful. We married in the mansion's garden, surrounded by flowers and guards, romance and security, my life now. I wore white with Nigerian embroidery and geli. Daehyun wore a traditional Korean hanbok and looked so handsome I forgot to breathe. 7 children stood with us. Zion held the rings. Sonia scattered flowers. The others fidgeted and giggled and were perfect. When Daehyun said his vows, in English and Korean, promising to love me, protect our family, and earn my trust every day, I cried. When I promised to stand beside him, to face whatever came together, to build a life for our children worth fighting for, his eyes were suspiciously bright. We kissed, and 7 children cheered, and for the first time in years, I felt like everything might actually be okay. We didn't get a traditional honeymoon. Can't exactly jet off to Paris with septuplets. Instead, we had a family moon, a week at a private beach house, heavily secured, of course, where we could be normal. Well, as normal as a mafia boss, a former med student, and 7 kids could be. Watching Daehyun build sandcastles with Jaden, teach Soojin to swim, help Miho hunt for shells, my heart expanded in ways I didn't know were possible. You're staring again, he said one evening after the kids were asleep. We sat on the beach, waves crashing, stars overhead. I'm appreciating, I corrected, using his words from before. He pulled me close. How are you? Really? Terrified. Happy. Confused. All of it at once. That's fair. He kissed my temple. For what it's worth, I'm terrified too. You? You face down armed rivals without flinching. That's easy. This, us, a marriage, being a father, this is terrifying because it matters. Because I could fail you. Fail them. I turned to face him. You won't. You don't know that. I do. Because you care enough to be terrified. Because you show up every day. Because you chose us, Daehyun. Even when it would have been easier to walk away. He kissed me then, slow and deep, and when he pulled back, his eyes were intense. I need to tell you something. The $1 billion offer, that was never really about taking one child away from you. I stiffened. What? I knew you'd never accept it. I'm not an idiot. But I needed to shock you, to make you see how serious the situation was. To get you to talk to me. You manipulated me. I got your attention. There's a difference. I should have been angry. Maybe I was, a little. But I also understood. Without that ridiculous offer, I'd have sent him away. We wouldn't be here now. Don't do it again, I warned. Yes, ma'am. He grinned, and God help me, I kissed him again. That night, we made love on the beach like we had 7 years ago in that club, except better. Because now we had history. We had children. We had a future. And this time, when the sun rose, we were both still there. 1 year later. Mommy. Zion's being bossy again. I'm practicing leadership. Zion called back. I smiled, stirring pasta sauce while chaos reigned around me. Even with a mansion and staff, I insisted on family dinners. Some traditions were non-negotiable. Daehyun entered, loosening his tie. He'd been in meetings all day, the boring, legal kind of business now. He was slowly transitioning the Kang family operations into legitimate enterprises. It would take years, but he was committed. How was your day? He asked, kissing my neck. Sonia got an A on her art project. Kai started a petition to adopt a dog. Miho nearly blew up the kitchen with his science experiment. Jaden scored 3 goals at soccer. Sujin composed her first full song. Nia learned to ride a bike. And Zion continued being bossy. He prefers practicing leadership. Daehyun laughed, the sound still surprising me with its warmth. This man who'd been so cold when we met was now the father who did funny voices during bedtime stories and let 7 kids use him as a jungle gym. And you? How was your day? I got accepted. He pulled back, eyes wide. Medical school? I nodded, grinning. I start in the fall. Part-time program, but I'm doing it. I'm going to be a doctor. He picked me up and spun me around, both of us laughing. When he set me down, his eyes were serious. I'm so proud of you. Couldn't have done it without you. The support, the childcare, the belief that I could do this. You were always going to do this. I just made it easier. 7 children thundered into the kitchen, demanding dinner, attention, mediation for various disputes. We separated, falling into the familiar rhythm of parenting. During dinner, I looked around the table. 7 beautiful children, arguing and laughing and being wonderfully, chaotically themselves. And Daehyun at the other end, meeting my eyes and smiling like I was his whole world. I'd come a long way from that desperate single mother drowning in bills. From the terrified woman who'd almost let pride stand between her and help. From the girl who'd had one perfect night and thought it was all she'd get. One night stand with a Korean Mafia boss had given me 7 children. But more than that, it had given me a family. A partner. A life I'd never imagined possible. And no amount of money could ever compare to that. Wow. What a journey. From a $1 billion offer to a beautiful family, Pamela and Daehyun finally got their happy ending. Did you love this story? Then smash that like button and subscribe for more dark romance stories. Drop a comment and tell me, who was your favorite kid out of the 7? Would you have accepted the $1 billion offer? What should our next story be about? Share this video with your friends who love mafia romance and strong female leads. And if you want early access to our next story, check out our membership options. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. Until next time, keep believing in love, even when it comes from the most unexpected places.